Hi everyone, it's Miss Mert here, and I, along with Mrs. Curry, the other school counselor, are going to be talking to you guys about crisis resources and suicide awareness and prevention today. Now, this can feel like a really heavy topic, so if at any point after this presentation you guys would like to talk, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or Mrs. Curry. All right, so what will you guys be learning today? Well, first you're going to learn how to tell if you need some additional social emotional help from an adult. And you're also going to learn how to get help for yourself or for a friend. Now, we know it can look a little bit different in distance learning times, but we are still here to help you guys. We want you to think of our email as like our office door. So if you ever need anything, please feel free to send us an email. But first, we're going to talk about who your trusted adult is. So, a trusted adult can be at school or it can be outside of school. And someone that's a trusted adult is someone that you can go to with a problem or a feeling, anyone that you feel comfortable talking to. So, at school, a trusted adult could be a school counselor, such as myself or Mrs. Curry, can be a teacher, can be an administrator, such as our principal or assistant principal. It could be a school psychologist, a school social worker, or even a coach. And then maybe a trusted adult who's not at school could be a parent, it could be a family friend, it could be a relative, it could be a coach outside of school, maybe someone from any organization that you belong to out of school, really anyone who's an adult that you trust to help you. So I want you guys to take a moment and write in your agenda who your trusted adult is at school and who your trusted adult is not at school. So teachers, I'm going to give students a couple minutes. Please pause this video and go ahead and fill in these two blanks in your agenda. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some protective factors. I want you guys to think of this like the flu shot. Just because you get the flu shot doesn't mean you're not going to get the flu, but it does mean that the likelihood of you getting it is way less. So it's kind of the same idea with these protective factors. If you feel all of these things, your chances of having suicidal feelings and tendencies is much less. So let's take a look at the major protective factors. So the first one is positive school experiences. So this means you enjoy being at school. When you think of school, you mostly think positive thoughts and feelings. Next is feeling part of a school community. So this is kind of your belongingness to the school. You feel like you belong there. Also having a safe environment. So when you're at school, you feel physically and emotionally safe. You feel a sense of connectedness to the school. So we really try to get students involved in something at the school, whether it be a club, a certain elective, something where you feel a sense of connectedness to the school. And then also having respect for the cultures of all students, because not everyone comes from the same background, and it is important to remember that and to be respectful of other people's upbringings. So some other protective factors include life skills. So this can include coping skills or how you react to challenges in your life. So if something goes wrong and you're upset about it, it's kind of how well do you bounce back from that thing that upset you. Having family support, so who at home is supportive of you. It could be a parent, it could be a relative, it could be brother or sister. So who in your family is supportive of you? And then also having access to healthcare and mental health care. So this would be access to a therapist or a psychologist if you need it. All right, guys, so now we're going to talk about some risk factors. So these are just things to be aware of if they occur frequently. This does not mean that if you're exposed to any of these that you are automatically going to be suicidal. But it does mean that repeated exposure or prolonged behavior should definitely be addressed by one of your trusted adults. So some of these risk factors include depression, substance abuse or aggressive or risky behavior, have a low stress intolerance, have impulsivity or ongoing feelings of hopelessness and loneliness. You have stressful circumstances, so this could include abuse, exposure to suicide, or bullying, whether you're the victim or perpetrator. Your parent has mental health issues, the death of a parent, or no access to mental health care, or you're exposed to discrimination, whether it be through your sexual orientation, your race or ethnicity, a disability, or even for your physical characteristics. And then risk factors can vary across different groups. So they can vary by age group, culture, gender, among other characteristics. The last slide I'm going to talk to you about is stress versus distress. So we all experience stress in our lives. We can experience anger, frustration, sadness, irritation. It's just a normal part of life. For example, if you get a bad grade on a test, it's normal to feel upset about it. Maybe you and your friend get in a fight. You could feel sad about that. These are all examples of normal stress. However, it's when it turns to distress that it might be time to seek out help from your trusted adult. So this could be a time, if you're experiencing distress, when you can't seem to shake certain feelings. No matter what you do, who you talk to, what tools in your toolbox you've used, you just can't seem to shake these feelings of anger, frustration, irritation, or sadness. This is a time where you need to seek out help from that trusted adult. I'm now going to turn it over to Mrs. Curry, who's going to talk to you about some warning signs.
Hi, it's Counselor Curry here, and for the rest of the presentation, we're going to talk a little bit about the warning signs of suicide and when to get help for yourself or a friend. And then we'll also share with you how to get help for yourself or a friend and what your crisis resources are. So when we talk about warning signs, one of the things would be when someone is focusing on suicide or death, whether it be in conversation or in writings like poems or short stories that they're posting, or maybe even in their artwork through their drawings, and also through social media posts. Sometimes we'll have students come to us, whether they email us something and say, I'm really worried about a friend, or they'll come to our office and show us something that was posted on social media by someone they know or a friend. Another warning sign would be threats to harm oneself, and this could be verbal or written. And oftentimes it can be, we see it through posting on social media as well. One other warning sign would be if someone is giving away most valuable possessions, for example, a piece of jewelry that's really special to them, something that means a lot to them that they're giving away. Another warning sign might be when someone is really isolating themselves from friends and family, wanting to spend most of their time alone in their room and not communicating with others. Another warning sign would be if someone's acting differently than usual, whether they appear to be more anxious or impulsive or irritable and agitated. Another warning sign would be that loss of interest in favorite things, no longer wanting to do things that they love to do, and talking about feeling hopeless or having no reason to live. That would definitely be a big red flag there. And then last warning sign here is changes in mood or appearance. So please know that preventing suicide will require help from adults. And if you're experiencing any of these warning signs, it's going to be time to talk to that trusted adult. So if you're concerned about a friend, what can you do? And we understand that sometimes friends will share things and they'll say, it's a secret, please don't tell anyone. So the first thing we want to be sure of is that you do know the warning signs. And that's why we covered those on the last slide. And I'll show you another resource. So if you're unsure, if your friend's telling you things and you're just not sure if they're okay and they might need more help, you can take a look at and some of the examples of all these different warning signs. So know those signs and don't be afraid to talk or to listen to your friends if they do share some things with you that are a warning sign. Just being a great friend is listening to their feelings, making sure that they know how important they are to you. So that really is showing that you care. But please don't believe that you can keep them from hurting themselves on your own, because preventing suicide will require help from adults. So please don't make any deals with them. Don't keep a secret of friends' suicidal plans or thoughts. If your friend told you that they had a broken arm but not to tell anyone, you'd probably tell someone so that a doctor could help your friend. It's the same thing when we talk about getting your friend some emotional help. And that's where we use that acronym ACT. Acknowledge the concern by knowing the warning signs and giving your friend an opportunity to talk more about what's going on with them. showing they care, like we talked about, letting them know how important they are, listening to their feelings. And that last piece is so important to tell that trusted adult. Some of the people could be your parent, your friend's parent, and the folks on campus, whether it be a teacher, a counselor, a school psychologist, any adult that you trust. And please don't be afraid that the adults will not believe you or take you seriously. Even if you're not sure if your friend's suicidal, please talk to someone. Seeking the help of an adult is being a great friend. Help at PTMS. First off, you've just heard from your counselors. I'm Mrs. Curry, and I work with students whose last names start with A through R. And then Miss Mert, you heard from her earlier. She works with students whose last names start with S through Z. We also have a student support specialist here on campus, and she works with students individually and in groups. We also have 2 administrators, Mrs. Nuskin and Ms. Freeman. Also know that your teachers and our PTMS office staff can help you get connected with support. So if your trusted adult is a teacher or someone in the front office, it's okay to let them know that you need to speak to someone to get help, but you're not sure where to go, and they'll be sure to help you get that support. We wanted to make sure that you were aware of the crisis resources that are available to you at your fingertips, just a few clicks away. So that virtual comm room is something that we shared about at the beginning of the year in our orientation. We know that was about a month ago, so we want to remind you about that resource. There's a link to the SDU HSD virtual comm room in the student support Google Classroom, and it's posted on the PTMS counseling website. Once this presentation is done, your teacher will also have the Google slide deck for it, and you can just click on the support resources image and it'll take you straight to the virtual comm room. So lots of great resources on the virtual comm room. You'll do a little scavenger hunt, I believe next week. And the support resources are all on the right side of this slide. So lots of different resources if there's a crisis happening and you need immediate help. So the important phone number I'd be sure to have on hand is that Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-TALK. The other resources are also amazing. That Care Solace is not for crises, but it does allow students to get connected with ongoing emotional support through counseling services. So that's another outside resource. This next slide talks about resources outside of PTMS. So of course, if you're not able to, because it's not school hours, speak to any of the staff members here at PTMS, please seek the help of a trusted adult. And if you're really worried about yourself or someone and you can't find an adult to help you, please call 911. That is an emergency. The Know the Signs website is a great resource that we want to encourage you if you're just unsure of if you're not okay or if someone else is not okay and thinking about suicide. Know the Signs will help you better understand the warning signs. So here it is. When you click on it, when you go to their website, each of those little blue circles has a different warning sign, like personality change, withdrawal, reckless behavior, substance abuse, loss of interest, sudden mood changes, giving away belongings. Those are all some of the things we talked about earlier as warning signs. When you hover over those circles, it'll give you a little bit more detail about those warning signs and some examples. And that might help you better know, is this something that I should be really concerned about, either about myself or about a friend? And it also has the Suicide Prevention Lifeline phone number there down on the bottom left. So we just want to be sure that you have access to all of these resources should you need them. Understand that today's topic of suicide is a very heavy topic. It's a lot to process. And if this presentation has brought things up for you, either about your own life or about a concern for a friend, please reach out to us. Your PTMS counselors, student support specialists, and school psychologists are all available today to speak with you. To speak with one of us, please email your school counselor, or you can call PTMS and just let whoever answers the phone know that you'd like to speak with a counselor after watching today's presentation, and they'll be sure to get you connected with one of us. Our contact information is here as well for your reference, for our emails, and it's also on the PTMS website if you're unsure of how to reach your counselor. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day and know that we're here to support you if you need anything.